And hello, comic book fans. It is Friday night. I am continuing with my new format. Sorry about the light in the background. It is the 21st of June, the longest day of the year. So the sun is pretty much coming right in through my balcony. So it's kind of weird. I'd have to wait until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning to do these reviews before the sun is out of the thing. So I'm going to have to deal with it. So my new review pattern now is to do the 2 favorite comics for the week and then the one that I'm most disappointed with and do them separately. And let me tell you what I think afterwards. Talk to you later. And for my final one of my review comics tonight, or at least my normal review ones this Friday night, I'm going to quote Monty Python. And now for something completely different, or at least for tonight. Secrets of the Sinister House, number 1. Didn't know much about this, but it seemed like a horror anthology. And why not? There were 8 stories in this. Red Rain Batman, The Atom, Harley Quinn and Zatanna, Martian Manhunter, Justice League Dark, House of the Dead, which is an original for this story, Green Lanterns, Fear 101, and Constantine. There were 2 that I didn't really much care for, which was the first one, Red Rain Batman, which almost made me stop reading it, the rest of this book, and I'm glad I did, and The Atom. I've never really been a big fan of The Atom. And this wasn't even Ray Palmer. It's, some other guy that I've never heard of. And, just that story, the first 2 stories I didn't feel it. I was not really interested. But I am so glad I continued reading. Harley Quinn and Zatanna was one of my favorite stories in this book. Then you get up with, I'll go over those in a little bit. Martian Manhunter, not bad. Justice League Dark was pretty interesting. The House of the Dead was the original one, which wasn't exceptional, wasn't bad, but it was better than Green Lantern's Fear 101. And then Constantine was awesome. So the 3 weak ones of this were Red Rain Batman, The Atom, and Green Lantern's Fear 101. Okay. Red Rain Batman is just basically him as a vampire fighting off these other vampires who are trying to take over Gotham or something, which wasn't good. The Atom, like I said, I've never really been a big fan of The Atom, so this was not something I was digging. It was him trying to figure out why there was something wrong with the house and why the earthworms weren't coming up, or it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But then you get to Zatanna and Harley Quinn. This is a road story which is just awesome. You have Zatanna. It's like Halloween or the day before Halloween, and she's just leaving Reno to go to Vegas. She's just done her show, and she's driving along to go to Vegas for a Halloween thing, and she sees Harley Quinn hitchhiking along the side of the road, and she's like he's trying to hide. Going, fuck, don't notice me, don't notice me. But it's kind of hard for not to be noticed when you're carrying a big trailer behind you saying Zatanna. So they hitch up. Ben, hilarity ensues. It's really kind of funny. It deals with like kids shows and clowns, and it was a really fun, semi-spooky story. It was more of a humor horror type thing, almost like Elvira, but better than Elvira. With so there's the horror humor involved with it as to rather spooky. And it was really, 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 really fun. Which made me want to read to Martian Manhunter. I went into the Martian Manhunter one, which was okay. It was just, not bad. It was alien crashes on Earth, and John Jones, as opposed to Martian Manhunter, was out there in this detective form and trying to figure out, because there had been some killings. Justice League Dark, with the main character in here is what is his name? Yeah, and then we get so it shows you the type of story this is, and they deal with him they get rid of him in a very interesting way, which I thought was really funny. Then you get the House of the Dead. It's a family moving into a new house. They get it a bargain. It turns out that it's haunted, and what happens with there, and it was reminiscent of the Amityville Horror. You know all these stories that the house was haunted and they didn't know anything about it, and with a neat little twist at the end. So that wasn't bad. Then you get to the Lanterns one, which again was among the three weaker ones, and I just did not enjoy it. Then you get to the last one, which is a Constantine one. Now, Constantine, I haven't read a lot of his stuff, but I've got a trade paperback collection in the back in my room. I really have enjoyed the stuff of his that I read, and I'm going to start working on reading his stuff. This is a kind of a dark story about in Los Angeles, about a couple of women who were murdered, and one of the ghosts keeps haunting Constantine, saying, "I want justice. I want to find this guy that killed me and do justice." And so he deals with it, and it's really kind of a nice, kind of a spooky story about him dealing with this and getting a form of justice, just in the magical realm. And that and the other ones, the main ones that I mentioned, the what do you call it? Zatanna, Harley Quinn, Haunted House one, and this one really made it worth the buy. And I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. I mean, it's not as good as the Batman ones. And I'm glad that I got it. And so hopefully there might be another, this is a number 1. Hopefully there might be number 2, maybe later. Who knows? Hopefully it's not $10. But I might get it if the store, and hopefully there'll be more than 3 or 4 good ones out of the 8. So let me know if you got it. Let me know what you thought, and like and subscribe.